Welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna make my favorite mashed potato recipe. Mashed potatoes are great. They are good just by themselves or with all kinds of gravies and different meats and so many things that mashed potatoes go good with. But I'm gonna be serving these for the next few days with my special country sausage gravy recipe. And if you want to see that recipe that I made last year, I'll put a link in the description somewhere up here, right about in there I guess, to that country sausage gravy recipe that I made. It's very good, and that's what we're going to be having on these mashed potatoes today. So I'm going to be using a mixture of these russet potatoes and these Yukon Gold potatoes. I just think they make a good mixture. I'm going to put in a 1/4 pound butter and about 2.5 to almost 3 cloves of minced garlic. Of course, salt and pepper to whatever I want. You would adjust that to whatever you would want. I like mine a little bit less on that. We're going to be using about 1/4 of this, half and half. And we're going to be putting Philadelphia cream cheese in. I'm probably going to use about half of that container there. Could put in some sour cream, but I don't have any. And sour cream isn't really my favorite thing, so this is what we're going to go with. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and cut these potatoes up. So as you can see, I have cut all my potatoes up. I've tried to keep them all about the same size so they'll cook pretty evenly. We definitely need to have a big enough pot to put them all in. And of course you'll notice that I did not peel my potatoes. I love potatoes with the skin on them. A lot of people do, but a lot of people don't. The skin of a potato has a lot of good stuff in it, whether it be French fries or mashed potatoes or baked potatoes. I just love the skin on the potatoes. I think it adds a lot to it. So I'm going to boil these down just like this. Alright, there we go. We got the potatoes covered with water, just barely covered with them. We're going to bring that to a boil, and then it's going to take about 10 minutes of boiling. You don't want it to boil super fast, you just want it to turn over, just kind of roll over, and we're going to let that roll over for about 10 minutes. Alright, our potatoes have started to boil. It took just about 10 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and start our stopwatch, and we'll come back in 10 minutes and look at this and check them. I forgot to mention one thing before I even cut the potatoes up. I washed them. It's a good idea to wash your potatoes. Just rinse them off in cold or warm water, because you just don't know if they've got some clumps of dirt on them or whatnot. So it's a good idea to wash them. Okay, well 10 minutes have went by, but I'm pretty sure these aren't quite done yet. They're going to need a little bit more, so we'll stick a fork in them, and sure enough, they are still pretty solid. We want them to be pretty much falling apart, so we'll go another 5 or so minutes and then check them. Okay, so we got about 25 minutes on the clock, and finally things are starting to happen. They are starting to get real crumbly. You can see that's falling apart, and that's just what we want. We're right there. Alright, so I drained these potatoes using the lid, of course, to kind of just get a little crack in it and then drain it into the sink. And of course you've got to use pot holders because it's very hot. So now we're going to take that top off of there, and we're going to let these potatoes sit here for about 4 to 5 minutes. It's still on the burner, but the burner's off, and now we want all that steam to start to get out of there. We want as much of that out of there as we can get. We still want our potatoes to be hot, so that's why we're only going to wait about 4 to 5 minutes. And then at that point, we're going to take the old potato masher. If you don't have one of these, you're going to find it very difficult to mash your potatoes. So we'll come back in 4 to 5 minutes and get this started. Okay, we've had our 4 or 5 minutes. You can still see a little bit of steam coming out of there, but these are ready to start mashing. So we're still on the burner that was on, It's cooled down quite a bit, but we can actually turn it back on to about medium low because we're going to start adding this stuff to it. But first, let's go ahead and start doing some mashing here and just kind of get it started. And just get the whole thing going. We're not going to go too far with it because we want to start adding. We can add now our butter and our garlic. All of these things, the cream cheese, the half and half, butter and garlic, have been sitting out so they kind of get a little bit closer to room temperature. I think it'll mix up a lot better like that. So let's just go ahead and slide all that in there. And then we'll just kind of start to mash all that in. Kind of get it to mix around there a little bit. The butter will melt pretty quick and the garlic will mix itself in pretty nicely. So just kind of mixing it all around. So now at this point we could start to add our salt and pepper to taste. And I just did that, so let's give that another good mixing. Just kind of get it all whipped around there. You can see there's quite a bit of skin showing. A lot of people don't like that, but I do. I love the skin. So we got that mixed pretty good, and there's still plenty of heat coming out of there. So now we can go ahead and put in however much Philadelphia cream cheese you want to put in. And since I take cholesterol medicine every day, I just put that whole thing in there. Why not? It's delicious. So now we'll start to mix that in there. Everything's in there now except the half and half. And we got our burner on, so we're adding a little bit of heat to the bottom. We don't want too much because it will burn. So we're getting that mixed in there. It's looking pretty good. You can see the cream cheese in there. And as I said before, some sour cream would be good too. I don't particularly like it in there, but it would be good. So you can see it's coming together pretty nicely. So now it's time to pour in however much half and half you want. I've already used a bunch of this. I made my country gravy out of this, and that's what I'm going to be topping it with, is country gravy. So let's pour in, for me personally, probably about that much half and half, and then we'll see. Let's go ahead and start mixing that up. Should start to whip pretty good. This is where you really gotta get in there and mix it up and whip that half and half into it. I've seen people use heavy cream, but I think that's a little bit too much. Just like my country gravy, when I make that, I don't use heavy cream. I use half and half and regular milk. So this is coming out pretty good. Pretty darn good. We got just enough half and half in there. And I'd say that's just about completely done. Yes, it is. That is done. That is good to go. So we'll get gonna be my dinner tonight. This big helping of mashed taters and just smothered in country sausage gravy. It's gonna be great. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.